video of desert dogs.
Previously on the Desert Dogs.
And normally when you do see this, it's an indicator of a healthy stream. So that means there's a healthy stream around here, which most likely means we're getting closer to Beveridge City.
But it looks like we took a wrong turn somewhere.
That could be especially carrying this heavy pack.
It looks like part of the trail just collapsed.
Well, we got down to what we thought was going to be the end of the ridge, where we dropped down about 1,200, 1,700 feet, and we'd be in Beveridge. It's going to take us a day just to get back to where it looks like we do drop down to Beveridge.
Maybe tomorrow we'll be able to camp at the hot springs. Oh, here's the hot springs right there. Across the valley.
In this episode, we're exploring Saline Valley. As you can see, there's snow up in the Inyo Mountains, and that's going to prevent us from any further exploration. So we're going to go explore the salt marsh, sand dunes, and also investigate the hot springs. Who knows? Maybe we'll even see some naked hippies. Saline Valley, encompassing an area of about 500 square miles. This valley is bordered on its western side by the Inyo Mountains. The middle of its basin is dominated by a large dry lake, a salt marsh, and sand dunes. There's something about its isolation that gives Saline Valley a mystical feeling. I suppose this feeling is normal anytime anyone willfully separates themselves from society. Civilization is where we can receive medical attention, buy food and drink, where we can easily reach friends and relatives. But in the desert wilderness, it's really just you and whomever is accompanying you. There's no food, no gas, and not much water. Unless you're an ardent survivalist, you have to bring that stuff yourselves. Few people, I say, because Saline Valley does have one tourist spot that attracts folks from all over. In one of its northeastern corners, there are a series of hot springs, and they are usually populated by nudists. After our failed attempt to hike to Beveridge City, which is an abandoned mining camp in the Inyo mountain range bordering the valley, we came back to the truck sore and a little bit wet because it had begun to rain. And it seemed more rain clouds were on their way. We decided to just go to the hot springs to ride out the storm. The sky was overcast, and the rain sprinkled a little more. But this was nothing compared to what must be happening at the elevation we were at when we woke up this morning, only 5 hours ago.
Beyond that, we were on the other side of it. That's the first front. We went behind that.
Cumulonimbus clouds had engulfed the spot where we had camped the previous night, which was at an elevation of about 5,000 feet. The occasional thunderclap lit our imaginations on fire. Just thinking about the deadly bullet we had just dodged. On the road to the hot springs, an artistic monument was erected to let passers-by know that they were close to Saline Hot Springs.
Oh look, vertebrae. Menu?
Or an apple. What is that?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Menu? What does it say? Bat rock.
As we entered the hot springs campground,
Oh, that battered.
we were surprised
I can't
not
walk
just
on
by
it.
some of the
I can't
people walking around naked, but by other creatures one normally doesn't see in close proximity to people. Like these
Perfect picture when it was
burrows.
smiling too.
Yeah.
Get a picture of the blowjob.
Makes me look good.
I know. Oh god.
And this coyote. Suspecting that this coyote was no stranger to humans, I decided to go in for a closer look. I do not recommend this to anyone.
It's coming at you. It's following you. It did it a while ago. It's coming. That's crazy. Keep coming. Don't look at it. Yeah, give it.
Candace Lamont?
Candace what?
The what?
Huh? Oh, Latrons.
Latrons. Okay, I said Lamont.
Lamaz.
Later that night, during a break in the storm, we decided to try out one of the pools. The water was warm, and you can feel that it was rich in minerals.
Hey, so Jose, can you tell us a little bit about these hot springs here in Saline Valley?
So the majority of these hot springs, unless they're near a hot spot like Yosemite, they tend to form as water is as it rains or snows on mountains. The water comes down. As it comes down, sometimes it'll go into the mountain through pores or through cracks. As it goes down further, it reaches a point where it creates an aquifer, and that aquifer sometimes will run into a fault. In this case, it will run into some thrust fault. Once it runs in through the fault, it'll go deeper into the point where it gets to a very hot spot, close to the mantle, and it'll heat it up. When the mantle heats up the water of course rises because of the heat. However, here we have a special situation where the water doesn't travel very far to the surface as it rises, and thus we get hot springs. If it took too long of a distance for the water to travel, it would obviously cool down again and then sink back down. But in this case, we're lucky enough to have just the right setting here for hot springs.
The next morning our bodies were sore, very sore, from the previous day's race down the mountainside. But it was temporarily alleviated by a wondrous sight. Our imaginations ran wild, because had we actually made it to Beveridge, we probably would not have made it out for a few days.
Yeah, we don't have snow here.
Yeah, because I remember when we were camping there. This hot spring looked like it was straight across.
So right where the clouds at.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're above that.
above that. Yeah.
Above that, where that little pyramid-like shape is in the middle of that cloud. We're beyond that.
On our way out, we decided to visit the sand dunes, which are a popular landmark in the valley.
I think that's it anyway. So when you look at the sand in the sand dunes, you could kind of tell that it's not the same as the sand that's found in the beach. One reason is because the sand that's found on the beach tends to be the grain size tends to be a lot larger than here in the middle of the desert, where it's a lot finer. And the reason for that is because here all the sediment that's carried and brought down to here in the dunes is all wind carried by the wind. So air currents pass through these mountains, they pick up sediment, and then when they get around this area, the current tends to die down and it unloads, and then hence you have sand dunes.
Salt trams were getting the salt here at Salt Lake, and these devices we're looking at were actually cable supports. And cables would go all the way across the Saline Valley here, up over the ridge, over top of the Inyo Mountains and down to Swansea, over by Owens Lake. And they would transport the salt in big buckets, much like a ski lift works, on steel cables. And up high, near New York Butte and all, the supports that moved the cabling are like 2 and 3 stories tall. The wood that looks much the same color as these that we're looking at here. And that's how they got salt over there.
If you ever wonder when you're walking along a trail, you see an ant trail, and why you see all this material out here around it, it's basically their dump site. So what they do, they're actually getting seeds from shrubs or even from wherever they find it. They take it in there, they consume it, then whatever's left behind, they take it out and then they leave it along the edge of the nest, as you see here.
One last obstacle stood before us and civilization. Last night's snow was still on the mountain road, and we were in a 2-wheel drive truck.
So apparently our plan was to take the south route because we thought there weren't going to be any snow because it's lower elevation. And apparently we found out in the road, it's light snow, it might be thicker, deeper as we go through, but I'm gonna pull it through and see what happens. And here we go.
You're lucky at Beveridge, you're lucky here, man.
I know, right?
Oh, God.
I felt it fish chilling right now. It's only this small section though, right? And then we go down after this, I think.
Yeah.
Feel it. I'm gonna rest a while.
Yeah. Do what you gotta
Ooh,
do.
it's mentally like stressful right now.
Yeah, I understand.
But you can see how a little bit, like you said, you've already felt some fishtail.
Yeah.
How a little bit can make a big difference.
Yep.
How high are we going? I don't remember going this high.
It shouldn't be too much further. I think it's up there.
Danny's trying to give me a concussion here by driving crazy, and I got hit in the head against this. So yeah, I might die. It's all your fault.
You know what? I'll stop up here and so you guys can take pictures and stuff on the snow. Cause it looks pretty good over here. This side. Look at that.
That's about it.
Are you relieved?
Actually, I am, because now we're heading out, we're going down, and there's no high mountains that create a shadow. That's why there was so much snow. Everything else is melting down here, so I think we're doing pretty well.
Perhaps in jubilation at surviving the treacherous road, Danny had something to get off of his chest. A snow angel to accompany Jose's sand angel. How cute.
How'd it go? Oh!
Well, in any planned trip, you never know how things are going to go out. You hope things work out for our plan. We planned to get to Beveridge. We were awful close, a mile and a half away. But the trail is much like if anybody's ever done Mount Whitney. It's a very difficult trail. In fact, we discovered after just 5-6 months, the main road was totally wiped out. We had a lot of hard walking to do. And then one good thing that we didn't make it anyway, because it snowed last night, and we probably would have had a bad time coming out. But I'm very happy. I won't be doing an attempt to do Beveridge again. It's like my 7th time. It's the end for me. It's just too hard. But it was a great hike. Seen some fantastic views. Well worth the time. And we did everything right this time. We did everything. We all had the same emotional breakdown when we got to a point. We thought that's where we're going to drop down to Beveridge. It sure looked like it on the maps. It sure felt like it. Everything we read about it. Then we found out we got another almost 2,000 feet to go up, and then another 1,700 feet to go down. So that means the next day we had to repeat all that opposite, and that's too tough. But the hike was a great hike. Learned a lot, and it was fun.
Cool.
Ditto.
That's what we can do when you get back. Get back to the city.
Well, first I'm gonna make out with a sidewalk because I want to show my appreciation for flat ground. I'm gonna gorge myself on a plate of maybe Chinese food. Kiss my wife, and yeah, take her along with the, to get some food, because I'm really, really looking forward to trying some fish.
We're back down at McCoy Springs, just checking all the petroglyphs, and man, it's a pretty cool sight. Yeah, it's too bad there's like people out there that'll screw this over me, just tell them where it's at, but responsible people, I think that responsible people should come out here and check this out. This is really cool stuff.
These are real men. And real men buy real desert gear.